Friday, I'm Carol Schulte and welcome to another edition of my Happy Friday video blog. Now, I know what you're thinking, Carol, why are you shooting inside when there's probably this horrible echo when you could be outside showing us one of the many beautiful sights of wherever you happen to be right now in the world? And you're right, I am very fortunate to be in yet another gorgeous place, having just arrived a few days ago here in Valencia, Spain. And I'm coming to you from inside of my apartment. However, as if having my video equipment lost wasn't enough, for those who have been following my journey know that my backpack was taken off the train from Hungary to Split, and then my luggage was lost on the airline flying from Split to San Sebastian. But I decided that I was still going to follow through and disconnect and detach and go on El Camino de Santiago, or at least the first part of it. And that's exactly what I did. But now I can also add a broken, non-functioning phone to the list. All right, hear me out. So while I had a beautiful experience for those 5 days, I was able to finally, actually, really and truly be present to smell the flowers and feel the wind and experience real, heartful, soul-felt connections with other individuals. The final morning, I woke up and within seconds was exactly back to who I was before I started the journey. You see, I hadn't planned ahead and didn't realize that it would take more than I thought to get back to Irun to pick up my bag and then find my way back to Bilbao in time for my flight. So 2 train rides, 3 bus rides, a taxi, and a little bit of a rush later, I made it just in time. And in an instant, it was back to that busyness that I had before I went on El Camino, which is exactly why I wanted to go on the journey. Now, part of me wanted to actually stay, and 5 days is not enough time. And I have no doubt in my life, perhaps sooner rather than later, I will complete the entire El Camino de Santiago. And I encourage you, if you've ever been interested in doing so, to definitely do it. However, it's easier to detach when we have no other choice. You see, I wanted to disconnect for a bit. I wanted to disconnect from the world, from technology, from the to-dos, and reconnect to me and my purpose and my calling and ensure that I was on the right path. And I thought that I would have some massive spiritual experience or epiphany. And while I had so many amazing moments, I realized that my journey is only just beginning, and perhaps my ahas are only just beginning. I truly believe that while we are already there, we will never arrive. And so the next morning, after coming in very late, I got up to go to La Tomatina Festival, which was on my schedule. One of the reasons why I wanted to get back to Valencia in time. It's something that's been on my bucket list for over 10 years. Now, if you've never heard of La Tomatina Festival, look it up. It is crazy and a whole lot of fun, and yet not the cultural experience that I thought it would be. Coach bus after coach bus arrives in this small city outside of Valencia, thousands of people to come and experience what is really nothing but a massive food fight of tomatoes where people are throwing them at each other, everyone's wearing goggles, and it's literally up to your calves in tomato juice. Unfortunately, I didn't get the memo that one is not supposed to bring their phone to such an event. Obviously, it makes sense, but I sort of thought, it's in a dry bag, it's safe. Well, in all of that chaos, after the first dump truck comes through this tiny alleyway and everyone's pushed onto the sidewalks so that we can make room for this truck, and all of a sudden the truck empties up or lifts up its back and thousands of tomatoes fall out, all the juice and pulp squeezing everywhere, I realized I no longer had my phone. And so I jumped down to the ground thinking, I would find it and pick it up, only to be met by a flood of tomato juice. And so I was literally shoveling through, really thinking and believing that I would find it. And everybody was looking at me as they were throwing tomatoes, and I kept saying, "Mi mobile, mi mobile." Unfortunately, we then had to be shoveled back onto the sidewalk as the next truck came through, and the volunteers in the green shirts were looking at me as if I was crazy, still trying to crawl around on the ground, oblivious to the fact that there was about a truck about to run me over. And this one woman looked at me and saw the sheer panic on my face, and I said, "I lost my phone." And all of a sudden she looked down and she picked up my bag, with my little dry bag, with my phone. And I learned her name was Elena, and I gave her this massive hug, and I said, "Oh my goodness, Elena, muchísimas gracias, you saved my life." Just kind of funny to think that she saved my life because she saved my phone. However, soon after that, I realized my phone was not to be saved because it had shattered into a gazillion pieces and has had liquid damage from all of the tomato juice that was in the dry bag that was no longer a dry bag. And so I found myself talking to my coach later on that day, and she said, "Okay, now what, Carol? You've literally been stripped of all of your stuff, your bag and your technology and your clothes and now your phone. What's left?" And I answered, "Me. Just me. And maybe that's enough." You see, I preach the importance of trusting that you are exactly where you need to be and you are always more than enough. But it's harder to put into practice on a regular basis. And I find myself liking being busy, wanting to check off my to-do list, and enjoying thinking about what I've done productively throughout my day. When in fact, maybe it's less about doing and more about being, which was confirmed today when I found myself doing my laundry instead of attacking my overflowing inbox and listening to an interview with Oprah. And she was talking about one of the biggest things that contributed to her success was recognizing from a very early age that she needed to get connected to who she was and trust her instincts, trust her feeling, and be more and do less. And that even where she comes from now, having a very rich, successful, full life, it's really her inner connection and her inner journey where she feels the most rich in her life. And so I leave you with this question and this challenge, in fact, two, as I continue to think about what that means for me. If you were to be stripped away of all of your stuff, if you no longer had your home or your job or all of your clothes, your things, what would be left? And number two, what would it truly look like to do less and to be more? And I challenge you to think about those two questions this week as I contemplate and ruminate on them myself. As always, I'd love to hear from you. Please share your thoughts, your ideas in the comments below. Share this video with someone in your life that you think could benefit. And until next time, continue to dream big, play big, and live big. However, if you find yourself at La Tomatina Festival, don't bring your phone. And if you really want to capture the moments with photos and videos, well then, find a friend who has a GoPro or get one yourself. Until next time, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you soon.